Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. Today we're going to switch things up a little bit from what we've been doing this week, and we're going to get back and do some UI work. We'll work a little bit with CSS and with the MaterialUI components. So I noticed in yesterday's stream when we were bringing in some of the data, we tried to look at the pages and some of the data was hidden because we were pulling in the styles for another page. So it occurred to me after the stream that of course we're pulling in those styles, right? Because we copied and pasted everything from the other page into that new component. So we're still importing those same styles. So I thought, you know, the first thing that we ought to do today is go through and maybe strip out the more specific styles and have maybe one style sheet that has some of the more, you know, basic things that would be universal, you know, across all the pages. And then I'll test out some of those pages that didn't look right yesterday, see if they look all right. And we can always make, I guess we can make adjustments for specific cases, you know, as we see them. But so far, most of the pages have been looking all right, so I don't think we'll need to adjust too much. Let me get, I don't have a live chat up yet, so let me get this ready. All right. Hey everybody. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so I guess we'll get started. Everything looks good with the stream. Whatever changes I had made in the OBS settings at the beginning of the week, I think that really did the trick. We've had no trouble at all with the stream quality, so that's good. There was a while there where I just wasn't sure what it was going to be like. Hey, it's Niki's birthday today. Happy birthday. So Niki, or Rook from the live chat, is actually here for the stream. That's really cool that you're watching on your birthday. So happy birthday again. And all right, now y'all can see my screen. So I was doing some data migration, so that's why I'm here in our migrate.js file. I'm going to switch over though and show you, let's see, I'll make it a bit bigger for you all. Let's shrink this down and let's bring up the NGROG server, because in when we're doing things like this, I think NGROG is really helpful, because I'll probably be looking at my DevTools, and so if you can look, you know, on your screen as well, I think it's a lot nicer. Alright, so I am going to paste this in. Alright, so now that link is available, and you all can see the same site that I'm looking at that I'm running locally. Alright, now this is our page.js component, which we made, and it's supposed to be just a component that can be used for a variety of content types. So that solved the problem for us of, you know, we were making new components for every content type, and we're starting to get a lot of types and a lot of components. So this will save us a lot of time and clean things up. It works, but you can see here that we are bringing in the news CSS, so news.css. So let's try to create a new CSS page. Now the reason we're not using something more like styled components or anything is because we're bringing in a large chunk of HTML from our database. For now, that's the way we have to do it. Eventually, we can do something different with it, but right now there's not enough time to get all that data reformatted. So we're just bringing in the HTML as is. Because of that, we need to use style sheets, right? I can't go in and add a class to something in here because the data is coming from here, right? I don't really know what's going to be there, you know, to add a class to. So we're just going to do our best to set up styles that are most likely to look good over a variety of types. And then hopefully we can test enough pages to catch most of the cases. This is a very large site, thousands of pages, so as long as we cover the pages that are most frequently viewed, and I'll probably check the analytics here soon, not during the stream, but I mean, you know, within the next week or so, just to double check, make sure that the pages that get visited the most are where we spend the most time. Looks like Niki's getting errors in the console. What? It's your birthday. You shouldn't get errors on it for your birthday. Let's check this out and see. Let's see if I'm getting any errors as well. I'm getting some kind of errors. Let me refresh this and see. I'm getting. Alright, so here's what I'm getting in terms of errors. I mean, I can still see everything. Oh, here we are. We have this one. That unexpected. Whoops. You know what? I've seen errors like that before. I can't remember what they were, though. Oh, you know, was it just that page? Let me go back. Source response media text HTML that is not text event stream aborting the connection. Unexpected token. Alright, that's odd. It must be, there must be something going on with what we're bringing in here on this page, because it's not happening, you know, on this page. Well, we'll see. We'll give it a minute. Maybe we'll get it. But it, yeah, we are getting it here on this page as well. So I'm not really sure what the problem is. Obviously, it's not affecting, you know, the view of things. We'll keep an eye on that. All right. What was I gonna? Totally have just lost what I was gonna do now. I think I was gonna make a new CSS file. I think that's what I was talking about. All right. So let's see. Our static folder. So within our static folder, let's make a new file, and we'll name it page.css. So if you notice the pattern, we're naming our CSS files the same name as the component that they go with, and we're doing the same thing with our queries. We name our queries, our GraphQL queries, the same name as the component that they go with. So it can be a bit confusing when we have pages here like a page.js and a page.js. So there are downsides to doing it like that, but also there's no confusion about which things go together. Alright, so since we have this component here with nothing in it, we need to bring some things in. So I am going to pull in, let me compare here, the faculty CSS and the new CSS. I think I'm going to bring in the faculty CSS because it does not have one problematic piece, which is the DisplayNone for the root component. So let's try that out first, and we'll see how it looks. Oops, where'd my... I think I closed out my new file here. There we are. Alright, I'm going to save that, and then in our page.js component, let's bring in, instead of news, let's bring in our page.css file. Okay, so now that's saved. Let's check it out. Refresh. Alright, so for this particular page, everything looks fine. I'd like to go back to that page that was giving us the issues. And you know what, I'm going to make this bigger. I'm going to make this 150. It should be a little easier to see. 150% of what I set the screen to. I have this set to 320 pixels because as far as I know, that is the minimum screen width in pixels that's available right now for a mobile device. So we don't have to worry about anything below that, which is good because the menu here just barely fits. We may have to make the menu a little bit more narrow, but any less than that you wouldn't really be able to shut the menu. Alright, so let me think about, I bet if I hit back we'll find it. Because I don't remember exactly what the page was. Our mission. Okay. Just, you know, kind of quickly glancing, this is looking pretty good. I don't see. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing really standing out as this looks awful. Of course, if there happens to be some data that's completely missing here, you know, because it's hidden or something, I won't really know about that. Let's go back. Hopefully we have something. Is this the film studies minor? Alright, that wasn't the one that didn't work. Greek minor. Alright, so I can't remember which one didn't work. If anybody remembers which one didn't work, let me know in the live chat. Otherwise, I'm going to try to refresh my memory by looking at our post types. Harshit says academics. There was a page in academics that didn't work. Alright, let me check what content we have in academics right now to see if I can remember what it was. I don't remember what it was. I don't know if why I really should have tried harder to remember that. Even have, I don't know that we even have a academics page in our history here. No. Okay. Harshit says it was academics English. Okay, let's try that then. Alright, let me see. Department. Actually, no, I don't have any content for English under academics. If it was English, maybe it was under something else, under departments maybe? Do I have a department for English? Alright, let's see what we have for the English department. I don't think it was that though. I don't remember ever trying to look at that. Austria says, let's view recording a previous stream. Yeah, I know I can do that. I just don't. Alright, let's do some Inception style stuff here. Let's view the previous stream. Alright, so hopefully we don't cause anything crazy to happen. Let me try to see a messed up screen. There it is. Austria, that's what I have. Academics, Austria courses offered. Alright, that was way easier than I thought it would be. Oops, I moved the wrong thing. Alright, let's check that out. There we are. Alright, still can't see that. So you have some work to do. Why is it still like that? Check out our main content and root. This is what used to be DisplayNone. It's not DisplayNone anymore. So where is the content? Is this the one? Alright. Okay, this is the one that one of the tags is a title tag, which is crazy. Let's see. So we'll definitely need to make sure we change title tags. That should probably be just kind of a universal thing. If a title tag comes through the data, we definitely just switch it. I think we're pretty safe to switch titles to H2s across the board. Let's see. There is no subtitle, although we probably should switch subtitle to, I don't know, we'll have to see what works. Maybe an H4 or something. Let's see if it displays anything at all right now. We have editors HTML. Subtitle. Okay, it actually does display. So we don't really need to change that. I'm okay with that being subtitle for now, because even that that size is okay with me. Alright, so now let's check out this tabs. Oh, we have a title within the tabs. Alright, so it's going to be a little tricky. I don't think we can just go with H2s all the time. Alright. So maybe we can get... Yeah, so it's titles are display none by default, which is, that makes sense. I definitely don't want to leave it as title. So here's what we do. We can switch it up and I'd really hate to have a bunch of H2s, but maybe we might have to do that for now. Like, this is not going to be the final version of this markup. For now, maybe we have all H2s, and then if you have H2s that are inside tabs, they'll be a little bit smaller font size. So that's not ideal, but so I mean, ideally you have a hierarchy to your structure, right? So changing the size is not really a big deal, but having that many headings on your page and saying they're all of equal weight is, I mean, it's just not true, right? The main title should be an H1 or potentially an H2, and then anything below that can't be at that same level. All right, so from, you know, an SEO point of view, we're trying to tell them what the most important thing is. And I'm not sure if it has an impact on screen readers or not, but I suppose it couldn't hurt to be more explicit with, you know, this is the main heading, these are the subheadings. So for now, we'll do the H2s, we'll switch everything to H2s, but it's not going to be like that forever. It'll probably end up staying like that when we launch, but eventually we're going to change it. Okay, so let's see what we have. Title. All right, so this whole thing are just titles, and then right title. Okay, so I think it might not be a bad idea to bring this up here and see what all this markup was supposed to look like originally. Austria. Well, Austria is going to need to have its own post type. There are a lot of Austria pages. Let's see, academics. I think it's this page. Did this one? It's interesting. Maybe the content we're dealing with isn't even actually linked anymore. Austria courses offered. Where did we pull that? Alright, well, in any case, we're going to display this as, you know, just one list. Let's see. Alright, let's do that. Let's go to our component. Now, we've done something similar in another component, so let's find that. Let's find that one. Was it news? Let's check our news component. No, it wasn't news. Alright, let's check out directories. Department. No, I know that I did something. Faculty. There we are. Okay, so here's what we did. So I know Harshit was talking about pulling data and changing the data like as we pull it in with a regular expression. That's one way to do it, but I've already pulled it in, and I've pulled in a lot of data, so there's no way I'm pulling in all that data again. So another way to do this, you know, after the fact, since we already have this data, is to do something like this. So here, I just kind of, you know, created this to grab the data. So that same data that we would normally input here, I just made a constant here that takes that data and replaces details with div class details, and then puts an ending div tag where the ending details tag was. And then down here we simply put content. So it's pretty simple. It's easy to tell when you look at the component what's happening. So it's not a bad solution. And this is something that I suppose could be pulled out into its own kind of utility component if there were enough things like this going on that we could reuse. For now, we don't really have that going on. But let's take this. If we see other things like a details component, coming in that we want to change, we could definitely reuse this. At some point, we might want to have just, all content running through something like this. But we won't really know what we need until we go through more of this content. All right, so let's go back to our pages.js component, and let's put some of this in here. Actually, let me make sure. Where was this? Faculty. Okay. Faculty page.js. All right, so inside of our return, is that where you had it? Yeah. Goodness. Or was it on our render function? I believe it was in our render function. I can double check, I suppose. Whoa. Alright, there we are. Oh no. I must have accidentally copied what I didn't want to copy. Okay. Oops. I have too many pages open. Let's get rid of, let's get rid of what we don't need. There we are. Faculty. Okay. So yes, within our render function and not the return function. There we are. And blocks must not be padded by. Okay. All right, so let's change this up. And so we have title, and we're going to change this, well, let's change this to title. And then here, we'll give it a class of title, just so that we can remember, like when we're inspecting, that this used to be a title tag. It should help us, if we have to go into DevTools and try to figure out what's going on. And then we'll change it to an H2. And then here, we're just going to grab, let's see, we're going to put in our content. Oops, let me copy this and paste it here. There we are. Oh, we have, all right, we can't use this exactly like we're using because we have our query. Okay, so we just need to change where we have this then. So we've used the newer way of doing a query, so we need to switch this up a bit. So if we put it down here, now we have access to this data. So you see, whereas before I had that little red squiggly line because this didn't exist, now we don't. All right, so now that constant is going to live here within our query, and then we can change it and just use content here. All right, so let's save, see what happens. Let's see. Oh, okay, cool. So look, we have all this content. Goodness. Yeah, we definitely want, there needs to be some styling happening here. So I definitely want to see, I'm assuming all this was all within title tags and now it's all H2s. Yeah, so that's an H2. That's an H2. Okay, we're going to get a little creative here with how we style this. This is definitely going to be something that you don't normally have to do. And I don't think I did not start my timer. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, it's definitely time for me to take a break and go back to the live chat. So I'm going to do that now. When we come back from our 5-minute break, then we're going to get in here and we're going to style all these H2s so that they, in fact, do not look like H2s, but instead look like a nice list. So really, these should probably be like LIs. It should be H2, H3, LIs. We're not going to get that right now. At some point, we'll have it, but not right now. All right, so there's one question at the bottom that I'm just going to address right now because it's very relevant. So John Hansen says, for future content that will live on the WordPress database, will users who input new data get a set template that will keep all things consistent with the data pooled? Yes. Yes, definitely. So when possible, it will be very specific. There will be certain fields that will only allow you to input certain types of data. When we need more of a like a content area that can accept HTML, that will be allowed, but there's not every user will have access to do things like that. And I will put in instructions. So usually what I do when I make something like this and there are going to be users that are entering content on their own is I create some tutorial videos for them. So I'll have either a video or a document, or usually both, that outlines here's what you do, for all these different post types. And then within the post types themselves, I'll have instructions so that when they go to enter something into a field, there'll be instructions right there below it saying, here's an example of what I want. So far that's worked well. I haven't, with the other sites I've done like this, it's gone well. So for this case, I'll actually have more direct contact with the people editing it because my boss will be the primary person editing it, and then the other developer who works right next to me will be doing it, and then student workers that will be working right outside my door. So if there's any issues, someone could actually, talk to me face to face about it. But I'm definitely going to be very specific with the instructions. So there'll be freedom to do different things where there needs to be, but it'll basically be, the fields will only accept what I want them to accept at some point. And that'll probably all happen after the launch. Because all that stuff's like behind the scenes stuff that I can do whenever, and the user, the ultimate user trying to look at this site may not even realize that a change has occurred. Alright, so let me scroll up and find some questions. John Hansen says, looks like the dog image has been improved using background size cover, though I think it also needs background position center. Yeah, it could be. I don't usually bother doing anything with the stock images. I kind of want to see what images I need to use for real. But John also says, add a closing X in the corner of the menu. Yeah, I noticed this yesterday, and I think that would be a great idea. That'll probably go on the list of it's not essential to have before we launch, because like the odds of somebody having a phone this narrow are pretty small. I can actually look at the analytics right now and see if anybody's using a phone that small. But that's pretty narrow, and it would be nice to have the X. We can also make this a little bit smaller. I mean, really, there's no reason right now that this has to be this wide. But anyway, I totally agree, John. I had the same thought. All right. Rook says, isn't the menu itself swipeable on most material design apps? Yeah, it usually is swipeable. I was not able to swipe this, but it could be because I'm not actually on a device. Now that I think about that, I should check this since we have NGROG running. Let me just grab the NGROG link, and I'm not going to try to type it out. I'm going to send it to myself. Let's see. It's the easiest way to send this. I'll just put it in my Google Keep. Alright, so Google Keep is a note-taking app, and it syncs up pretty quickly, so hopefully it syncs immediately now, and I can just open this up on my phone. Because if it is swipeable, then that's good to know. I still like the idea of having an icon there, just to be sure that it's 100% clear to users. But users may also, if they're used to being able to swipe and they can't swipe, that's going to be an annoyance to them. It's not swipeable right now. So when we've done things with materialized CSS, that is swipeable. But right now this is not swipeable. Also, it doesn't look... It's much more noticeable that there's not enough padding at the top on mobile right here. So I definitely need to make sure you get some padding. But that's the type of thing that I'm going to be doing in the streams for at least today and tomorrow. Really working on some of those little details, especially on the home page. Yeah. We'll have to check. Maybe there's an issue with MaterialUI already open about being swipeable. If not, maybe that's something that we can create and maybe submit a pull request for MaterialUI to do that. I mean, that seems like a pretty common design pattern for material design apps that should be there. So, Nikki, thanks. That was Nikki. Yeah, Nikki, thanks for bringing that up. All right, I need to take my sweater off because it's super hot in my office now. My office, the rest of the department is actually pretty cold. Like right outside my door is really cold. The girl who works, she kind of has like an open office thing going on, but the girl who works right outside my door always has a blanket because it's so cold. But my office is always really warm, and it's all the screens. All the screens create a lot of heat. So a sweater is appropriate for everywhere else except for my office. And I don't want to run the fan because, it would mess up the audio. As soon as the stream's over, I'm definitely running the fan, though. All right. Let's watch this. Hey, Innes here. Hey, Anna, how's it going? And then this will be the last question, and then I'll go back to the code because my timer did run out. But Innes says, how was your working day? Not too bad today. I had a meeting. So every Thursday morning we have a department meeting. And basically everybody in my department, which is about, I don't know, about a dozen people. Sometimes not everyone is there, but about a dozen people, and we just quickly go over what we're working on. Sometimes it can get a little bit long, so I'm not a big fan of the weekly meeting. I always keep mine short. So today mine was, most of what I said was just I've been working on this site. So that was my day, but I did get some more data transferred over, which was nice. I was actually up at like 10 till 4 this morning, and I couldn't go back to sleep, so I just got up, got a good workout in, made a latte. I ate a bunch of eggs for breakfast, and still managed to get my kids ready and get them to school on time and get myself into work. So not a bad day. Although right now I already feel tired. In a couple hours I'll be ready to go to bed because I've been up since before 4. But anyway, thank you for asking. And I know it's on the live chat, so I usually don't ask you how things are going, but I will now. So how's everything going with you? You don't have to say it in a live chat if you don't want. If you'd rather answer on Insta or Twitter or something, let me know. But I feel bad. You're always very considerate in asking how I am, and I usually don't during the live chat ask you. So anyway, if you feel like sharing, please let me know. Let's see. All right, a related follow-up question there is Simranjit says, how is your work-life balance? And Simranjit, if I messed up the pronunciation of your name, please let me know. I really want to get it right. Right now, my work-life balance, I think, is pretty good. When I'm home, I've been doing very little work. Sometimes I'll still like message about projects and things, but I try not to actually do any coding at home right now, and just spend time with my kids. So it's like, it's been not bad. I've been reading to the kids, and oh cool, I got Simranjit's name right. Awesome. So I've been spending time, read to the kids and hold the baby a lot. And I've been playing. We got a Nintendo Switch for Christmas, so I'll play that with the kids, and it's fun because we talk about it. We'll say like, hey, I got this today on this game, and that's kind of fun to have like a common interest, with the kids. So that's cool. And I've been getting my workouts in. So this is 2 weeks on Monday. So over 2 weeks now that I worked out every morning. So I started adding some, I've been doing cardio, and now I started adding some weights and things. So it's not bad. I actually gained like 5 pounds since I started working out. Normally you work out, you want to lose weight, but I assume I'm gaining muscle because I'm working out and I'm actually eating slightly healthier than I normally do. So anyway, I think my balance is going well right now. Hopefully I can keep it up. And the key for me, I think, the key change that I've made is I'm going to bed early and consistently. So I rarely stay up past like 9:30. Sometimes I'm in bed before 9. Basically, when I put my kids to sleep, I go to sleep too. When they're brushing their teeth for the night, I'm brushing my teeth, and we all, just go to bed. So that's it. I've had to sacrifice some Netflix, but I think it's worth it. Anyway, sorry, I took a really long time to answer that, but I think questions like that are important because being a developer and being successful isn't just about the code. If you are great at the code, but you can't keep that balance, you get all stressed out, your mental health isn't good or your physical health isn't good, then the code's going to suffer. So that can be just as important as, you have somebody that's mentally and physically healthy who's not that good a developer right now, then they have a good base to learn more. But if you have somebody who's an expert, but their life otherwise is a mess, if I was going to hire somebody, I'd hire the new person that at least has the rest of their stuff together. Not that I don't have concern for the other person. I'd want to help them out, but if I had to choose, for the good of a company or something, that's who I'd pick. So, anyway, I do want to make sure I have content that you are interested in. So if you'd rather hear less or more about the other part of a developer's life, physical, social, mental, let me know. I can talk about that more. I'll try to make sure that I save that for the end, though, because there are some people that really just want the code, and I know they probably get annoyed by these long breaks in the middle of the code. All right. Now, I don't want to make it sound like I always have everything together, right? I don't. This just, the last 2 weeks have been exceptional. Usually, like, for months and months before that, I just felt like I didn't have anything together. And I'm sure if you asked my wife, I would sound even less together than I sound right now. Because she sees everything from a whole different perspective. So she'd probably tell you about how I bought candy and junk food for all the kids 2 days ago, and and that kind of thing. But all right, let's get back to the code. I'm going to set my timer now, and I'm going to remember to bring it over here on this screen so we all can see. 25 minutes. We're going to do our best to make this page look good, and then check out a few other pages just to make sure we haven't like messed things up on those other pages, and then we'll see how we're doing on time. You know, if we get it looking good, maybe we'll just, you know, go back, do some more question and answer, and finish up the stream. We'll see how it goes. So if you do have a question or comment or anything, you know, put it in here now, and then, you know, I will get to it in about 25 minutes. All right, so for now, this H2 is fine. I usually like things to be a bit thinner than this, but I'm not going to worry about detail, like small details right now. But this heading definitely needs to be smaller. So let's inspect that, and that's going to be a tabs H2. So let's go back to our CSS file. So we're going to be working mainly in this file at this point. And I don't think we have anything with tabs yet. And let's see what we name phone. I kind of wonder if we really need this on these pages. Name, phone, email, CV link, video embed, display block, list view, details, right column blocks, details type. I want to see if we're accidentally hiding anything, so I'm going to comment that out right now. Alright, it doesn't look like we're hiding anything else, so that's good. I just want to see what we're hiding, if we're hiding anything. So let's do, what was it, tabs? Yeah, tabs, and then we're going to do H2, right? So in CSS land, oh, why am I, oh, don't use empty. This is how we select an H2 that is a child of tabs. And is this direct child? I believe it's the direct child of tabs, so that we do want to use that. We can take advantage of the cascading nature of CSS here to make sure that those sub H2s that we're going to get to in a minute actually are getting the correct styles. So it won't really matter one way or another. But let's try this. Let's try pixel font size, and let's give it 24 pixels. 24 pixels for now. That may be too big, we'll see. And then our font weight, let's go with 400 for now. And I'm not worried about color so much. We may get to that, but let me see what the color is now. I don't want it to be solid black, so as long as it's not solid black, I'm okay with it. Where is H2 computed? Huh, that's interesting. I wonder maybe if there's no color set at all, and this then is the default for the browser. That's interesting. Alright, so what I would want is color, let's go, yeah, so this does look like it is black, it matches all these. So what I really want though is to do it like this and have 87. So I'd rather have the color be 87. Let's make sure. Okay, 87. It's really hard to see a difference. But that's something that I want to apply across the board. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But let's see. Tabs, H2. You know what we just did should have applied. Let's make sure I'm in the right file. Page.css. Why did it not apply? What's going on? Tabs, H2. Let me see. I'm going to check the live chat, and maybe I made something different. Maybe I messed something up. I mean, select all H2 and repair amount. Which one is that? Space. This is interesting. So does the space actually matter? I was under the impression that the space didn't matter, but let's try it out and see. So the first way I did it didn't have any effect at all. Now let's see. Let's try again. Maybe I was mistaken. I think you all are right. The space mattered. Very interesting. For some reason, I just didn't think the space mattered. I just thought that was commonly how you wrote it. All right, cool. Very good to know. So in case you didn't catch that, originally I had written this tabs and then, you know, this little, was that a greater than sign? Yeah, a little greater than sign, and then H2, but I had spaces between that. All right, but that was not the correct way to do that. So, all right, cool. So that works. Let's see how it looks. All right, I like that. Yeah, I like that. I think that's not bad. I do want to see what the font size for this is. 24. I don't want them to be the same, so let's drop that down then. Let's drop this one down to, I don't know, what do you say, 20? Let's try 20. See how that looks. All right, I don't really like that, but I'll go with that for now. Maybe once we drop these down in size, it'll look more reasonable. All right. Also, thanks to everyone that pointed out that space matters. I see several of you were talking about the spaces. Angel and Nikki and I'm not sure who else was saying that, but everybody who was, thank you. All right, so let's check this now. And first we'll test out some styles here and see how we like it. Let's see if we can get... no, that's not exactly what I want. H2 title. All right, let's go with left. And I'll put that there. Bump that up to 22. And then we're also going to have a right. H2 title. All right. We'll give it a quick refresh just to make sure. Okay. That's a little bit more obvious, the hierarchy that we have here. And let me give it a scroll just to see what else we have going on here. And, all right, so we have another header. It says fall only, spring only. Okay. Now, obviously, we have a problem with spacing, right? So let's deal with our spacing issues. Why do we have spacing issues like this? Is it these? All these BRs? There we go. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to set the BRs to display none. I hate to do that because there may be very meaningful break tags that are in here, but it seems like from what I've seen of the content, the break tags are not meaningful. So I think we're better off displaying none on the break tags, and then when we need to, we'll add in padding with our CSS. That's the way I prefer anyway. Yeah. Alright, so this is looking a lot better. Not 100% what I would want. There's still some spacing issues, but so much better. So let's make sure we do a BR none, which I think we already had down here. Did we? We did. So we already had that BR none. So I still want to leave this commented out for now because I'd like to know if we're hiding anything else, but I'm going to add that BR now. So the BR set to none won't actually hide any content anyway. It'll just get rid of space. So I'm okay with having that as display none. All right, what's going on here? All right, so sometimes I get a red line and I think it's just delayed, that it shouldn't be there anymore. It just hasn't left yet. All right, just double check, make sure it works. Yep, that works. And courses offer full screen. What do you think? You know what, this is probably throwing me off that I have it zoomed in. Alright, that definitely looks more reasonable, I think. What we ought to do though is make sure that there's a bit more space. So let's see what we have going on here in each tab. I think each tab should have some padding or some margin at the bottom. And let's make it 16 pixels. Okay, let's see what's going on. It's basically done nothing. Sleep block. There we are. Okay. Okay, let's throw this in here as well. Alright, our CSS definitely could use some better organization. But I'm okay with letting that go until we get farther along. Sometimes if you organize prematurely, then you need to just reorganize everything again. So I'd rather kind of wait till we get more out there. Alright, I don't love this right now. I think that there's still not enough distinction between these headings and the actual content. So I either need to make this font size smaller, which I don't really want to do. I think 18 pixels is kind of the minimum I'd like to go here. So the alternative would be to make this H2 larger, and then I can make these ones larger as well. So maybe I'll do that. I'm just not sure. I kind of want to think about that. Let's see. I do want to see how I'm on time. Okay, so about 10 minutes left. All right, maybe let's try it then. we can just try it here in DevTools and see what we want to do. Font size 1.5 EM. So what's the computed font size? All right, 24. I'm sorry, I knew that already. I don't know why I forgot. All right, so let's try this. Font size 26 pixels. Let's try 28. All right, 28 pixels, and then we can make these 24. Let's see if that is enough for only. Yeah, I think that's a lot more significant. That stands out. The only other thing that I think might work as well is let's try our font weight here. We can try 300. Ooh, I like that. I really like that. What do you all think about this? These changes here. I still don't like this bold, this being that bold, but I really like the thin font. Let's see what the font size is, or font weight is here. 700. Wow. No wonder that's so thick. Font weight 600. Let's go with 500. All right. Yeah, 500 is way more reasonable. Yeah, I usually never go above 500 for font weight. Okay. All right, so let's change this then. And so our H2s are going to be this CSS is so messed up. It is bothering me, but I'm gonna hold back the urge to change it right now. Font size and font weight, and then we changed our font size here to 24, and we changed our font weight here to 300. And let's refresh just to be sure. Excellent. All right, now it is much more obvious what the hierarchy of this page is. All right. Cool. I'm really glad that I didn't just leave that alone. Sometimes not being satisfied with your design is not the right way to go because you spend too much time on it. But in this case, this worked out. So I don't know. I think that's kind of the thing that sometimes if you work on something enough, you start to get a feel for like this isn't a big deal. Don't waste your time on it, or this is a big deal. And you don't always, you don't always choose the right thing all the time. But in this case, it didn't take that long, and I think the result is a lot better than what we had just a few minutes ago. Let me check my time. All right, 6 minutes. All right, so now that we have this, I think we ought to check out what's going on now with some of the other pieces of content. So I'm just going to go back through here to some of what we had and scroll. All right, this one doesn't seem to have any. Here we are. Here's some headings. Let's see what these are. These H2s. Yeah, these are H2s. Okay, not bad. I'm actually okay with the way those look. I think those are fine. And what's this? This might not even be a H tag at all. An H4. Okay. All right. Okay, that's not too bad. All right. So it looks like the hierarchy is there. The hierarchy works. Ooh, that's way too small. What is that? An H5. All right, so I'm definitely going to have to take a look at the H tags overall, kind of the global settings for the H tags, and then change them based on what our base font weight is, which our base font weight should be at the minimum 16. All right, so we do have 18. I'm okay with that. I actually like 18 being the base. So if 18 is our base font weight, or I'm sorry, font size, then the H5s can't be, what are they right now? can't be 13.28 pixels. So they have to be at least 20, right? Does that make sense that any heading, no matter H5 or whatever, it still needs to be bigger than the base font? Okay, let me check the chat because I think I asked you all what you thought about that and I didn't even check for the answer. I apologize. John Hansen says, looks good for the font weights now. Anna says, I think DisplayNone is a bad idea. Anna, I'd like to know why, what's your reasoning for thinking it's a bad idea? Would it be better to just remove those BR tags? Because I'm open to doing that as well. I mean, the easiest way to do it is with CSS, but the easiest way is, of course, not always the best way. So I would like to know the thoughts behind that. Okay. All right. If you have asked a question, I haven't got to it yet. Just about 4 more minutes, and I'll get to all the questions. So please be patient. What are these? LIs. Okay. So it looks like the LIs have a different font weight, but these ones don't. What are these? So our ordered lists have a different styles than our unordered lists. So I'll probably want to change that at some point. I don't think I'm going to try to get into it right now because we don't have that much time, and I just want to check some of these other ones as well. Let's see. All right, here's our about page. So we have this ought to be an H2. Oh, an H1. Okay. I'm going to have to make a decision and see, like, what do we want to have some consistency with these? Because I think there ought to be, if possible. But other than that, I like how this shows up right now. Yeah, that page is good. This associate page. I think that, what's going on with this page? Do we not have a title at all? Huh. I may have to check out this page on the site right now and see if there's a title, because that looks odd. It's H3 at the top. Yeah, I think we definitely want to make sure that all pages have a title, and this is a subtitle. So I just need to make sure. It looks like the title doesn't exist in the main data. So, maybe I'll just pull in. It's different for different pieces of content, so it's going to be a little tricky. Because sometimes in the main content, it already includes the title, and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't want to get duplicate titles. So I can't just add a title in across the board, like pull in the WordPress post title. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about. I'm gonna have to figure out which post types aren't pulling in titles automatically, and which ones are, and then go from there. Okay, only have about a minute left. I think we've checked enough pages now. All right, we got an H2, H3. True. Okay, not too bad. All right, not bad. This is all. These are all acceptable. I wouldn't say that it's exactly how I would do it if I was doing this all from scratch and had complete freedom over how this displays. But considering that we pulled in all this HTML from this old system that had been put in by a variety of different people over years, I think it's displaying, quite well. So, or at least well enough that I'm comfortable with something that looks like this, being what we launch with. Okay. All right, Anna just explained, so she's saying, if I want to use BR in articles, I cannot because you hit it globally. That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, let's think about that. We need some way to get rid of all that space that's coming with those BR tags. But at the same time, do we want to give the editors the freedom to add in their own tags and have that be respected? I'm gonna have to think about that. I thought up a few potential solutions, but I don't think any of them are really that good. I'm thinking like potentially we could still hide the BR tags and then just have a note in the editor to let users know if you want to use a break, then use this other tag, and basically we'll just invent another tag and make it act like a BR. So I don't like that because like now users have to remember to use another tag. It's problematic if you're copying and pasting code from somewhere else and trying to use that. So that's why I don't like that solution, although it would work. It's not great. The other solution is to try to go through all the data right now and remove most of the BR tags. Then we don't have to hide them. But that solution would maybe there's a way to do it in WordPress and alter the database, with one command. I don't know how to do that. Maybe I could learn. Then there's a possibility of us. I guess we wouldn't be getting rid of BR tags where we need them because right now we're hiding them, so it's the same thing. You could have somebody manually go through, which is going to take a while. We probably won't get that done before launch because I don't really have anybody right now that I know I could give that task to. Or I can migrate the data and at the same time strip out the BR tags, which I really don't want to do. Alright, so those are my, what was that, 4 maybe solutions. I'm going to have to think on this a little bit more. The other solution is just to leave them hidden for now and then have that on the list of things for somebody to manually do when they go through the data, and then whenever they get finished with that, I can then remove the CSS rule that hides the BR tags, and so then they'll be okay to use again. That actually might be the best solution because there won't be, I don't think there will be that many changes, that quickly to the site. And hopefully I can get somebody to go through that data soon. Let me know what you all think. I'm not 100% sure about any of them, any of those options. All right, let me scroll up a bit and answer some more questions. That'll be it for the coding part of this. So if you don't want to stick around for the question and answer, thank you so much for watching. But if you do have a little bit more time and you can stick around, I definitely appreciate it if you would, and help answer some questions and ask some of your own if you'd like. Arun, I'm not sure, A-R-U-N. Let me know how to pronounce that. Says hey all, hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Okay, there's a little conversation going on here between Nikki and Angel about CSS. So I think it would be worthwhile for me to put this in the video for those of you who are watching later. So let me just type a little bit in here. So the question is, what's the difference between this tabs H2 and tabs H2? And this one, Angel is explaining this in here, so I'm not going to read it out word for word. I'll just kind of demonstrate here. This first one only selects the tabs that are a direct descendant of the H2, right? So there's you don't go down any more levels. It would have to be tabs, and then right after that, H2s. So even if there's like 5 H2s, as long as they're just a child, a direct child, all those H2s will be selected. But tabs H2 will select children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, right, all the way down. So you could have tabs and then a div, and then within that div in H2, it will still be selected. So with the first one, it wouldn't be selected if it was inside a div. The second one, it would. And it could be inside 50 divs all nested, and it would still be selected. All right? Hopefully that makes sense to you all. Let me know if it doesn't. But there's our CSS lesson of the day, brought to you by Angel. Thank you very much. Grim Reaper says, why is it said that front-end web development is pretty messed up? I don't know. I think people, here's my guess. I obviously don't know what the intentions are of the people who say this, but based on what I've seen of people saying that and similar things, my guess is that there are so many different options, and there's usually not one clear front runner for how to do pretty much anything in front end. From what UI framework am I going to use, to am I going to use Sass, Less, Post CSS, styled components, Glamour. There's so many options. What routing am I going to use for React? What am I going to use to manage data? What am I going to have for a back end? It's just, there's so many options now, and so many good options, that it can be confusing to someone. Maybe they're coming from a different area of programming where there are clear front runners. It's more like, okay, everybody does it this way. They come here and it's like the Wild West of programming, where anybody can just open up a Git repo with a new way to style React components, and they've put it on Twitter, it gets a bunch of retweets, and now a week later, that's a legitimate way to do it, and you have really good developers all of a sudden using it and saying it's awesome. So I could see that as being pretty confusing. Even your build tools. Are we going to use Grunt, Gulp, Webpack? There's just so many options for everything. The only thing that seems pretty standard in front end world is almost everybody uses Git. Right? Git is standard. So other than that, it's just, everything is just up for grabs. I personally like that. I love that there's so many options, because it's not boring. Every project we do, we try something new. That's really cool. So we're always learning. So we get better with the stuff that we've kept on in the project, but then now we've added this other thing in. So we're always having to learn new things. I like that about it. And with front end, it's just things develop so rapidly. I don't know. I think that's cool. Harshit mentioned Git is used by everyone else too. Yeah, I didn't mean to imply that Git's only in the front end. I'm just saying that's an example of something that is consistent among front end developers, is that they do use Git. I have seen, like in where I work, the IT department doesn't use Git. They use something different. I can't remember what they use. Vault. I think it's Vault. they used Visual Source Safe for a while, and they switched to Vault. Yeah, so I mean, but basically, the point is that I could see why people would think it is a mess. But once you get an idea of, I don't know, once you start to learn more about it, and you can kind of visualize where everything falls into place and where the options are, you know, what the options are, like, I think it makes a lot more sense. So at first it's definitely confusing. Like, what do I learn? How does it all fit together? Like, you know, just figuring out what everything is for is a big step, right? The names don't always say what these things are for or what they do. Anyway, that's kind of my viewpoint on it. But as I said, I really don't know what the intentions are behind, you know, everyone that says that. Let's see. I lost my place in the live chat, so I'm scrolling through now, trying to find where I was. Bhupender says, which software are you using to share screen or record the screen? It's called OBS. So it's free, and it's available for Mac and I believe Windows as well. I haven't tried to use it on Linux. I think it's available for Linux, but some of you people who use Linux, let me know if it's available for Linux as well. I don't want to mislead anyone. But it takes a little while to get used to the settings and to get them just right. But once you get the settings down, it's really easy to use. I recommend just finding someone else who has it set up properly and trying to get their settings and just copy it, and then you can adjust them based on what you need. But that's what I did. I went out and watched videos from gamers who were doing live streams and just kind of tried to figure out, okay, what do I need from there, and adjusted it. So like, I don't really need 60 frames per second for what I do, so that's something I can back down on, whereas gamers generally prefer that. So just kind of adapt it to your needs if you're interested in using it. Arjun says, what's the best way to integrate React with an external API? It depends on, it depends on a couple of things. Like, if you're trying to grab data from an external API and you want it to be server-side rendered, then I would use something like Next that handles a lot of that for you. And then you can use what's built in from Next to be able to grab that data and render it server-side. If that really doesn't matter, I would just use fetch. You could fetch client-side or server-side, whatever you want. So there's a node fetch that you can use as well. But yeah, just use the fetch API, and I think that works well for me. Someone mentions, Harsh mentions Axios. Yeah, people have used Axios as well. I personally don't use Axios, but a lot of people like it. So I can't really explain why you would want to use it, because I haven't used it, but that's another option instead of fetch. That's another area where it's like, the question was, what's the best way? And we automatically have two really good ways to do it. It's like, what's the best way? I don't know, but I'm sure we could debate, and then somebody else will throw in. And by the time we're done with the debate, we'll have even more options and no clear winner. So that's just the way things are in JavaScript world right now. Oh, Nikki said, thanks for the explanation. I assume it was about the CSS stuff. You're welcome, no problem. Gregory says, I'm new to this chat. Where did you get the Pomodoro timer? Harshit made the Pomodoro timer. So Harshit mentioned that in the live chat. Yeah, but Harshit actually made it. So yeah, it's, let me get the URL for you. It's pompom.now.sh. That's P-O-M-P-O-M. pompom.now.sh. And I will copy and paste that into the live chat so you can click. But I want to make sure I read it out as well for those of you who are going to be watching later who can't access the live chat right now. John Hansen says, globally set small zero margins top and bottom on all text tags and HR. It's easy to find a sweet spot. And if you have 3 or 4 media queries, you can change these margins. Using EM is helpful too. It's dynamic. Okay. Let's just think about that. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a lot more testing and work to be done CSS-wise to make sure this all looks all right. But as I said, a lot of what we're bringing in now is acceptable. Not exactly where I want it, but I can't start to perfect this until I make sure I have all the data. The number one thing now is there readable data here for every page? And have I kept the URLs intact as much as possible? That's number one priority. After that, if that's finished, then I can start to get into things like, you know, does this look exactly how I want it to look, or, you know, whatever else we want to work on. Harsh asks, is there anything that you use to design sites, like overall color scheme and other typography and stuff? I use Material Design for almost all of my sites. Some side projects I do, like I just experiment with different things. But for my professional projects, I usually stick with Material Design. The color schemes, so I work for a university. The color schemes that I use for the university all come from the official palette, which was developed by one of my colleagues here at where I work. So I'm kind of bound to that. Now, the way I use those colors and the amounts, you know, that's up to me. So I've had some trial and error with that. But to get to the point where we have this color scheme that we're using right now, like this, you know, that was essentially just trial and error and seeing what looks good, what doesn't look good, and starting to get a feel for like what colors can go up against each other and look okay and which ones can't. Right? So like the green color actually doesn't look good right up against a white background. So it's always bordered by the gold, which you can see in the footer here. Even a tiny gold border makes a huge difference. So as you start to work with a color palette, you do get a feel for it. But then just for a lot of different things like the shadow, you know, menu styles and things, icons, I pull a lot from the Material Design philosophy. So even like the way inputs behave. You know, Google's put a lot of time and money, and there are a lot of very experienced, talented people that have developed Material Design. So I can't compare with that. So I'm going to use that. It provides a very familiar user experience. So I love the idea that a user can come to my site and immediately feel comfortable with the navigation and the visual hierarchy of things, you know, based on like the perceived depth of elements on the page with the shadows. So I like to use that. For my side projects, sometimes I like to be pretty experimental. Like I like to give a retro look to things, and I kind of mess with like dark color themes a lot as well. So I'm a little bit more playful and creative when it comes to that. But if I happen to have a client on the side, usually like when it comes to colors, I'm also bound by whatever their branding is. Most companies already have that, so you work with what you have there. Usually, if a client has one or two colors that are just really ugly, you just use them as sparingly as possible. So I prefer the use of white a lot when I'm dealing with things like that. So like personally, I love dark themes, but I don't know, they don't always work, and clients usually don't like them that much. Like sometimes I've had clients ask for a darker theme, but then once they see it next to the white theme, they don't like it. I don't know I don't know why. It's not every client, but there's just, for some reason, people seem to like the white. All right, I think I've gotten through all the questions now, so cool. All right, Inna says, I like the design of the site. Thanks, Inna. I appreciate that. That's one of the things that it's always difficult, I think, to work with design. People, by that I mean that clients and things always have a lot of opinions about what they like. I think at the end of the day, the thing to keep in mind is the client, the user, right? Not the client, but the end user. So your clients, right? That's who you want to think about. And for me, usability always takes a higher place than just style alone. Sometimes I get ideas from clients that are really cool, that stylistically would look awesome, but then if you say, all right, well, how's it going to look on a phone? How's it going to look on a tablet? What if you put it in landscape? There's these things that, sometimes people don't always think of. So sometimes you have to sacrifice that creative style for usability. And I think material design does that. That's why I like it so much. If it depends on what kind of site. If let's say I was doing a personal site just to showcase my work or my portfolio, I could probably get away with being a lot more creative and not worry so much about user experience. But it's just, you got to balance that. So I don't think most of my sites I wouldn't call beautiful. I would maybe describe them more as like clean. Minimalist, right? They're just I try to focus them, make them to the point, make them easy to use, and I don't know, I think there's beauty in that too. Let's see. Harsh says, okay, thanks for the info. I will look into material design. I've never worked with it before. Yeah, check it out. The docs are very comprehensive. So if you go to like the official Google material design docs, just read through some of their philosophy and click around and just look at their examples. I really like the way that they set up their documentation. Harsh says, but sometimes you do see sites that have both creativity, animations, and responsive at the same time. I get so jealous of such developers. Yeah, you do. Yeah, so it's always going to be a balance between creativity and usability, but some people manage to strike that, and the result is pretty amazing. So it just takes a lot of work, right? So you go with something that's pretty standard like material design, you can make sites faster. If you want to do something that has a lot of creativity, animation and stuff, and still it works on different devices and is usable, it takes a lot of time, a lot of testing. I can be confident that a lot of the material design stuff will work on different devices because others have tested. If I'm coming up with my own thing, that all falls on me. The odds of there being some glitches are a lot higher. But anyway, right now it just so happens that I don't really have the freedom to do things super creative, you know, and I'm okay with that. I have a lot of freedom in the tools that I use, so I'm happy with that. But I don't know, maybe one day I'll get more creative with the design side of things, and we'll see. I like where I'm at right now. I like what I'm doing. All right, so that's it. That's all the stuff in the live chat right now. So I'm gonna end the stream now. Thank you all so much for watching. Really appreciate all the help, all the comments, questions. You all are awesome. So I'll be back tomorrow, and this will be good. Assuming everything goes well tomorrow, this will be a whole week of streams consistently around the same time. So it's been a while since that's happened. But anyway, until tomorrow, have a great day.